let's just quickly look at two simple gym rules which have a surprising amount of relevance. No one ever talks about these, but I've seen some terrible injuries occur accidentally out of these situations, and they're really easy to avoid. Once you know what to do and how to behave, you'll never see these injuries again in the gym. First one, you will often see people in a crowded gym environment sitting and watching the action like so, with their arms extended back like this, in an open area of the mat. This is just asking for trouble. Let's say Giancarlo and Nick Ortiz were sparring behind me. You can be down on these guys, it's fine. And Nick Ortiz violently pushes Giancarlo back, and he lands right on the back of my hyperextended arm. Do you know how many times I've seen this happen in the gym? Dozens of times. The result is a near perfect arm break. This is basically an Udigatami armbar. My hand is wedged into the mat. And now, unlike an armbar, it's not just the strength of someone's arm pulling down. It's the weight of two human bodies smashing into my elbow on a hyperextended limb. That's a recipe for disaster, okay? So make sure you build a gym culture where no one sits in an open area of the mat during sparring like this. This is okay when sparring is finished. It is not okay while sparring is going on. Anytime you have people behind you, always sit with your elbows in front of you. Your body can take huge amounts of impact from the back, like so. Your elbows cannot take huge amounts of impact from the back, like so. Okay, so make sure if you ever see people sitting around the gym casually like this while sparring is going on behind them, correct them. Make sure they sit with their elbows in front. Simple, but important, okay? The other thing is, build a gym culture where if people want to watch, they do so with a wall behind them. Never create situations where people are sparring and other people are just dawdling around the mat looking around. Okay, it's just a matter of time until there's accidental collisions. Always build a gym culture where if you are going to watch the action on the mat, you do so with a wall behind you and everything in front of you. Okay, no sitting, open, exposed on the mat in sparring situations in a crowded gym room. It's just asking for trouble. So two simple safety rules: eliminate the idea of people sitting during open sparring on a crowded mat, back like so. I've seen many people get severely injured from this common practice. Eliminate it from your gym, take it out of your gym culture. Secondly, if people want to watch, make sure they do so with the cover of a wall behind them so that they don't have people rolling into their backs, their heads, etc. Keep the action in front of them. Build a culture where if people want to be spectators, make sure they are spectators with a wall behind them, and you'll eliminate those completely unnecessary. Injuries are part of the sport, but I'm going to say this. Around 50 to 70% of the worst injuries I see in this sport are entirely avoidable. Okay? We're all mature enough to understand that there's some injuries that are unavoidable. There's things that are just going to happen. It's part of doing Jitsu. It's part of your education. But there's also some injuries, more than a few, that you see where there was just no need for it to happen. And sadly, some of these are often the worst kinds of injuries. Over the years, I've observed there are a small subset of moves or movements which contribute about 80 to 90% of the catastrophic avoidable injuries you see in a gym at any given time. Okay? Let's quickly run through these and why I ban them in the academy so that you guys can, if you do get injured, then it's an unavoidable mistake rather than something that didn't need to happen. Let's have two athletes in the standing position. Okay, first things first, jumping guard. This is a big no-no. There's always a danger when one guy goes to physically jump to guard. You are throwing body weight onto your opponent in an uncontrolled fashion. When it's done like this, it all looks safe. Okay, one guy's stationary, the other guy jumps in, and it seems pretty safe, right? You just jump on him, and how dangerous could that be? You see this all the time, don't you? The problem starts when you go in line, and you've got two people moving. You've got a slippery floor, and you've got people changing angle as they get into a competitive situation. And that's when the horror stories start. Okay? You'll see people jump, and they jump where the guy was. The guy moves, and where they land is completely different. It's usually right on top of an extended leg or into an ankle in directions that are just absolutely appalling. Okay? These are injuries that make any heel hook really a fucking joke. Okay? These are potentially career-ending injuries. So you're welcome to pull guard in my classes, but you can't jump guard. Okay, so demonstrate jumping. No, not in class. Okay, if you want to go to guard, you have to sit with your buttocks to the floor. This is 100% safe. Okay, but no issues with this. As long as your buttocks go to the mat, you're fine. But if your buttocks and hips go to your opponent's body, that's a problem, because now you can land on someone that's badly hurt them. Okay, our general rule for safety is this. The number one cause of catastrophic injury in the sport of Jiu-Jitsu is uncontrolled falling body weight. That's so important, I'm going to say that again. 90% of the worst injuries in this sport come from falling body weight. In particular, uncontrolled falling body weight. It's not the heel hooks that hurt you. It's not the arm bars. It's people landing on you in ways where you get fucked up. That's what does it. Okay? So jumping on people is out. So too with flying submissions. Okay? Say for example, Kani Basama. Okay? This is unacceptable because you are jumping onto your opponent's body. Okay? You can still hit leg locks. For example, you can slide into Ashigarami. You started standing and like, this is 100% safe because you went onto the floor instead of onto your opponent. So the general rule of thumb is you cannot jump onto your training partner. So no flying arm bars, no flying triangles, but you can fall to the ground and then go directly to submission holds. Okay? The second biggest culprit is poorly performed Tani Atoshis. Okay? When we lock a body lock on a training partner and he's got a whizzer in here, so often you see people go to perform a Tani Atoshi takedown by sitting down to their buttocks and reaching for the far foot and trying to trip them back to show you Tani Atoshi. And done like this, it looks okay. Okay. Then you see people in the gym perform it clumsily and spread your base, Frankie, and you see what happens. He's going to sit on his knee and he's going to break the knee inwards. The knee doesn't bend that way. You get a human being sitting on top of your leg. I've seen 95-pound women break 230-pound men's knees with this. Okay. So our rule of thumb is you cannot lock the body and sit to your ass. This has an unacceptably high rate of injury. And the injuries from here are fucking bad. Why? Because typically the guy's leg gets caught underneath and it can't move. And so you just get a human being sit on the outside of your knee in the direction it's not supposed to go, and you see terribly broken legs. Okay? So what's the safe way to do it? Here's the rule of thumb for Tani Atoshi. If you are behind your opponent and your head is on his back, now it's safe. There's no way you can hurt the guy. So if your head is on his back, you can hit Tani Atoshi, and there's literally no way you can hurt your opponent. You can't land on his leg. It's physically impossible. So this is safe. But if your head is in front of your opponent, usually because he has a whizzer, you must go to your knee. You must trip with Kosarigake to your knee. This is 100% safe and very effective. You cannot sit to your buttocks. Okay? If you sit to the buttocks, there's an unacceptably high risk of sitting onto your training partner's knee and breaking the knee inwards. Okay? So Tani Atoshi, the rule is simple. If your ear is on his back, no problem, do it. Okay? If your ear is in front of his chest, you must hook and go to your knees, not to your ass. If you're in doubt, you're not sure what I mean by this, just don't do the move. There's other takedowns you can do. Okay? The other, probably the third most common reason why we see bad injuries in the gym has to do with the situation where Oliver, Andrew, you have two guys working out here on the ground, and these guys here are standing, and Frankie does a takedown and runs his opponent right into another group of people. Okay, we see this all the time. Understand, guys, we have around 3,000 square feet of mat space, and we often have anywhere from 80 to 100 students on the mats. Okay, you have to take into account where you are on the mat relative to your training partners. You cannot just every day, guys, you tie up down on the floor. If you roll into your training partners, you go driving into your training partners. Don't just go into their space and then look at them like they're a pair of assholes being in your space. You're the asshole. Okay? You went into their space. So you stop and you move back where you came from. Don't just roll into people with no concern for their training space and then look at them like they're fucking problem. Okay? But the rule of thumb is simple. If you go into their space, you're the fucking invader, so you move the fuck out. Okay? If there's any dispute, the one with the higher rank wins. Okay? So if you don't know who rolled into who because you both rolled at the same time and he's a black belt and you're a purple belt, you move away. Okay? It's a simple tiebreaker. It has nothing to do with high ranking, it's just a way to break a tie. Okay? And if we can avoid these three things, then avoid a lot of unnecessary injuries. Understand always that the number one cause of injury is falling body weight. So anytime you pick people up, it's your responsibility to put them down safely. Okay, so if we have a mat return, and you lift the guy off the floor, the lifter is responsible for the safety of the other guy. Don't drop people on their heads, don't spike people on their necks, things like this. Put them down with some safety in mind. If you do simple things like this, you can avoid the worst injuries, and most importantly, limit yourself to unavoidable injuries. We all understand those, you do Jitsu long enough, you're gonna get injured. It's the way it is, okay? But it's sad when people get injured by things that never needed to happen. Those are the ones which are kind of sad. Okay? So we can avoid those. It's a big, big step.